to questions. We're going to open up with Dave Biddle, 24/7 Sports.
Hi, Ryan. What are some things maybe about Will Howard that we don't see that stands out about him? Maybe some things behind the scenes that really impress you?
I think you get a chance to see his demeanor when you guys get an opportunity to spend time with him. And I think you're getting to see his command the more you watch him play. I think that's probably the thing that jumps out, and also just an air of confidence that he has experience, in big time games, and he's played a lot of college football. So to me, those are the big things that jumped out early on, and we're only 2 games in, but it's good to see him getting more and more comfortable every day he's in the building.
Dan Hope, Letterman Row.
Ryan, you had mentioned last week on the radio that Lorenzo's earned the right to play more on defense. What have you guys seen from him that you think can make him an asset to the defense?
Well, anytime you play well in special teams, you're earning more and more trust with the staff, and that's something that we've always preached here. And Brandon was the special teams player of the week in week 1, Lorenzo in week 2. So the more and more trust you're building, you're just getting an opportunity to do that. And so we'll see how that all shakes out game to game, and based on the scheme going in that week, or what we're seeing in terms of our opponent. But somebody who's competing every day in practice, he's giving great effort on special teams. You see him show up in coverage, getting his hands on balls. Effort, and that's big, for us right now in terms of we want the hardest playing guys in the country. He's shown he'll do that.
Bill Landis, Kings of the North, the podcast.
Ryan, you've spoken a couple of times about trying to figure out what the offense's fastball is going to be, just sort of the thing kind of hanging around. How is that process going, and I guess where do you think you are in figuring it out?
Yeah, no, I think we're getting there. I still think that it's early in the process, but I think you saw a little bit of that last Saturday, just in terms of the mix that we have, and some of the schemes that we're running. Running inside zone, running stretch. Getting the ball on the perimeter, mixing in play action passes. If you're trying to get the ball into our guys' hands, the mixture of all those things, along with the quarterback run, mixing up tempos, those type of things, put stress on defense. And I think our guys are getting more and more comfortable. We always want to have a combination of zone schemes and gap schemes up front. And, we're starting to get there. We're still not where we need to be. We still don't, have a full complement of stuff out there just yet. But we're building towards that right now. But I think at least the balance that we had and the energy we played with, a couple weeks ago is what we're looking for. But it's just a starting point.
I don't know if frustration is the right word to use in terms of not playing last week, but when you think about that process, is not having a game in the 3rd week of the season any kind of impediment as you try to develop that?
I mean, I think it could be, but it's just based on how you approach it. And our approach was that this, it is what it is, and we're going to have to handle it. And so we went out there and we had an improvement week, and I felt like we had 3 hard physical days out there, and got a chance to step away for a couple of days and watch some games on Saturday, and kind of asked everybody to do that, get some rest. It gives you good perspective. You get a chance to see some games, see some situational things to learn from, get to see some other teams out there. Just watching the game, in your living room was a different experience. So I think, our guys got a chance to get some of that. We visited on Sunday, had a team meeting, went out there, had our typical Sunday routine. That was good, and now we'll get back here on Tuesday. But, the idea was to get better. I think we did do that last week, and so now we'll get back into game week here. But we tried to keep the same rhythm last week as we rolled through it.
3rd row right, Stefan Kreisnig, Cleveland.com.
You talk about Will Howard and how he's gotten more comfortable day by day. Have you kind of seen the same from Quinshawn from when he came in and kind of learned this offense? And what has he kind of added with his experience in the locker room?
Yeah, same. He's learned the offense. I think there's certain things that we do that's different than where he came from. So learning that was something he jumped into early on. He and Travion have a great relationship. They work hard in that room. I think Carlos has done a good job of building a rapport in that room, and a physicality and a toughness and a mindset. So again, just getting started, but you can see what he can do with the ball in his hands, the explosiveness and the power he has when he runs, and in protection, I thought he did a good job picking up a couple things too. So he's growing, he's building, but you can see what a weapon he is for us when he's out there.
Far right, Dave Holmes, WSYX.
Right, you said talking about watching the games Saturday. When you're a college football fan, what's that day look like? I mean, what are we eating? What are we drinking? What are we watching at the games? I mean, is there stuff you're looking for that maybe a regular fan's not? What's your bye-week fan experience?
Yeah, you get up in the morning, you know, have breakfast with the family, try to spend some time, and, you know, with the family the best you can. You know, I talk to our guys about, you know, balance is not equal distribution of time and energy. It's a you know, building high ground for hard times. You can do that through faith, family, and friends, and so you gotta get around your family and get around your faith and get around your friends a little bit. But we don't have a whole bunch of time for that, so you get that done in the morning, and then the game starts at noon, and you know, we all just need to get off our feet, rest a little bit, and kick our feet up. But you watch the games, and now you get a chance to watch multiple games at once. You know, I'm sure a lot of people do that now, and so you bounce from game to game, and you just watch. You watch the coaches, you watch the players, you watch the demeanor, you watch the body types, you watch the situations, you learn from it. It just gives you a great perspective as you don't find yourself in those situations very often, especially early in the season. So, you know, it's something that I think our guys, you know, had an opportunity to do, and we brought up some of those situations on Sunday. You know, learn from a few of the game situations, in game, end of game, and you know, I think it's just healthy to do that when you have that opportunity.
Tony Gergman, Buckeye Huddle.
Talking about Will Howard getting more comfortable, how much credit do the receivers in this building get for making him more comfortable?
Yeah, it's everybody involved. It's the protection. You know, it's you know, and that involves the tight ends, the running backs, but obviously the offensive line. That's a big part of it. But the receivers, you know, are you know, have a strong hand in creating a comfort level of, you know, if you are man-to-man and you throw it anywhere, you know, kind of this area, I'm gonna go make a play, so let me go do that. And then that's really their job, is in man-to-man, is to get open and catch the ball. And it's Will's job to give him a chance to catch it. And then when you get zone, you have to space out the routes. And then now it's the quarterback's job to work the underneath defenders. So, you know, again, the protection's a big part of it, but for a wide out to win versus man-to-man and space it out versus zone, I mean, that's their job. And being strong with the ball in their hands, and then also ball security. So all those things play into it. And you know, these guys have worked hard in the offseason, they worked hard during the preseason, and they continue to work hard to build that chemistry, rapport, and timing, and all those things are important. So, you know, it all goes hand in hand.
He said that you guys told him if they're pressed one-on-one, they're open, throw it, you know, that sort of thing. Did you have to repeat those things, or he's just one time you tell him and he's good to go?
I mean, there's a lot of things that are said multiple times over and over again, and that's what you do as a coach. But all of our quarterbacks, you know, pick things up quickly, and that's important, you know. But those are things you're continually talking about. And the good thing is when you're about to say it, when it happens on a play, and you're about to say it, and they finish the sentence for you, that's when you know you're on the same page. And we're starting to see some of that.
Dylan Davis, Delaware Gazette.
You talked in the preseason about the idea of Caleb Downs potentially playing some offense. Is that still something you're interested in or pursuing, or is that just kind of a break glass in case of emergency kind of thing? And I guess how much did James Peebles' emergence and feeling confident in him change against your perspective on it?
Both. I think right now, you know, we're focused on Caleb being the best safety in America and, you know, doing his job there. You know, he's still working as a punt returner. You know, I don't think we're quite there where we need to, you know, get involved with him in the run game just yet. Not that we won't as the season goes on. No, and I think, you know, it's been great to see James, and good to see Sam get some carries in the game. So, you know, our depth at all positions is gonna be, you know, tried this year. So, you know, he'll be an option if need be, but right now we're gonna just focus on safety.
Jeff Gilbert, Pressboroughs, third row left.
Coach, in terms of special teams, you're more involved with this year with it. You haven't had a close game yet where special teams play could have hurt you. That's coming. Those games are coming. How much more confident are you in that? Thinking most specifically about punt either way.
Yeah, I think every day, you know, meeting on it, talking through it, you know, I feel much more involved with it. I feel like I'm much more in control of it than I was probably in the past, and making sure you have the right guys in the right spots. And so, yeah, I mean, we're gonna keep grinding on it every day. We wanna get better in every way. We wanna grab every inch we can possibly grab, and those, you know, that's a phase that can be critical, as you know, in some of those, you know, some of those situations. So, we'll keep grinding on it. I do feel like, you know, our staff is fully engaged in it. I feel like our team is. I think they see it, they feel it. All coaches are involved, including myself. So, you know, we're not where we need to be, but, you know, we are seeing good effort there, and that's a great starting point.
Far left, Joe Nugent, WCMH.
With Donovan Jackson moving in a good direction the last few weeks, do you know if he'll play Saturday?
Yeah, he's ready to roll. You know, as long as we have a good week of practice, he'll be ready to go for Saturday.
And Austin Cerebell, what type of value do those last two games provide for him going forward?
Yeah, you know, he's gonna still play, and we'll figure out how that looks, but he's done a nice job in the first couple games, and, you know, for stepping in that spot, I think that's provided us some depth that we didn't know we had going into the preseason.
Fifth row right, Cameron T. Robinson, The Athletic.
Ryan, I think maybe from the outside in the offseason, you lose guys like Tommy and Steele, maybe the depth of linebacker, but uncertainty is just kind of answers the question. Through 2 games, you've seen that depth grow, that rotation grow. What have you liked about really all 4 of those guys that have really kind of fit with that whole room that's really fit well together?
Again, it's just the start, so I don't really like to summarize where guys are at right now. We got a lot of football to go, but you know, you see what you see in the first couple games. You see a lot of great effort. You see guys running the ball. You see guys making plays, and that's exciting. And challenges are going to keep getting, you know, more and more difficult as time goes on. So we're gonna have to play with three linebackers in the game if they're, you know, bigger personnel groupings. So that's at the very least you got to play with 3. But you know, you lose a couple guys, you play with 4 and 5. So just like every position, we got to do that. But you know, good to see, you know, even in the first game not having Cody, you know, seeing guys step up, and you know, it's important. I mean, that's a position where you got to do a lot of prep work. You got to know how to fit the runs, and you got to be involved with the coverages. You got to make the checks. You know, Cody, and then you know, if Cody's not in there, the Mike linebacker's got the green dot, so he's making all the communication from Jim. So it's a lot of work, and but we're seeing some good play there. We're seeing some good effort. So again, good starting point, but a long way to go.
Fifth row left, Noah Weiskopf, The Lantern.
Ryan, what have you seen on a Marshall from watching them so far? What do you think? Did they do exceptionally well?
Yeah, they you have a very good staff. You know, Coach Huff is very well respected. Does a great job at recruiting. Does a good job with his team. You know, he's been a very good coach in college football for a long time, and he's hired a very good staff. A mix of, you know, youth and experience, and you know, he gets his guys to play hard. They're athletic. You know, they got a big front, you know, on the defensive side, and you know, they have an identity on offense. They want to spread you out and throw it around a little bit, and you know, mix some runs in. So you know, I think you know, he does a very, very good job, and you know, they're going to come in here, and you know, they're going to play open and free, and you know, we'll have a great environment, so they're going to be jacked up for that, and a lot of respect for the program and what he does.
Pat Murphy, 24/7 Sports.
Ryan, you were talking earlier about showing guys some clips of things from over the weekend. How often do you guys do that, especially early in the season? You know, maybe when situations don't arise in your games, but you might see them crop up in other games. How often are you able to use other games?
Periodically, you know, coming off of a weekend where we don't play, it allows us more opportunity, and you know, I can grab a couple of the coaches and say, hey, can we put some of this stuff together? I watched this. Can you put these clips together, and then we can go on it. When you have a little bit more time, that allows you to do that. When that happens, we'll do those things. Usually coming off of a game, there's just so many things that we need to, you know, hit on coming off the game, watching the game film, that typically we're just gonna focus on ourselves. But depending on what we have, you know, coming off the game and what we have coming up the next week, we'll just make a determination. There's so many hours in the day, but when we can find these teachable moments, we try to do that just to bring awareness to everybody. And sometimes it's the coaches, sometimes it's the staff, just to make them think, you know, what are we gonna do in these types of situations, and then how are we gonna respond?
Joey Kaufman, Columbus Dispatch.
Ryan, statistically this year, Will's been really sort of the upper end of the spectrum in terms of being really efficient out of play action. I'm just wondering from your perspective, what's made him really effective in those type of situations?
Well, I think it starts with the runs. You know, when you're running the ball, you know, now you have to be more aggressive. Safety's got to get lower. You got to put an extra guy in the box, which opens up things down the field. But I think the work we put in on the timing of some of those concepts, and you know, the protection's been strong, like I've said. But it's timing those things up and marrying up the run game, you know, with the play action pass as they go hand in hand. And then there's the RPOs, which are similar to that as well. But you know, you're looking to always complement the runs with some sort of play action pass to put people in conflict. And Chip's always done that, and we've always done that here. Is on just about every play, you want to put somebody in conflict. Whether you're just turning the ball and handing the ball off, it's a safety or something, or maybe a linebacker with a play action pass, or you're reading somebody in the RPO world. And so putting guys in conflict is what we're looking for. So marrying those things up is important, but I think the timing has been good so far, but again, just a small sample size.
Is it Chip part of Chip's thing? Has he done it in the past stop? Does Will have the skill set for it as well?
Yeah, I think all of the above. I think everything, is a big part of it. We got a lot of great minds in that room, and I think Will can see it well from his size. He can stand in that pocket and see over the line. I think that does have something to do with it, but it's everybody. It's the design, it's the protection, it's the routes, it's all of the above, but ultimately he has to deliver the ball.
Stephen Means, Cleveland.com.
You spent a lot of time in fall camp, just kind of, in the nicest way, just calling out Jelani Thurman and needing to see more from him. And it feels like with G, Will, and him, you guys have just kind of rotated those guys, which is probably going to benefit than just playing Cade Stover as much as you did the last couple of years. What have you seen from him specifically over the first 2 games that let you know that he's headed in the right direction?
I think it's his ability to be coached. We're coaching him really, really hard, and he just keeps playing the next play. He doesn't let the last play affect the next, whether it's a good play or a bad play, and just playing through that. And the more reps he's getting in the stadium, the better it is for him. So we want to continue to play through that. I think his attention to detail has been better. It's improved. I think his focus in meetings has improved. And so every day he puts, stacks these days, the better he's going to be. But just even attention to detail when he's in the special teams meeting, he's focused, he's locked in, he's got questions, he's got answers. I mean, those are all the things you're looking for somebody who's trying to build trust with not only the coaches, but his teammates. And so if he can keep building on that and keep growing, again, I feel like this guy's looking for him.
And could Austin, if you needed it, play that Bison role that you can use over the last couple of years here? Is that, as a tight end depth, maybe not allowed you not have to use that as much?
Well, we do have more depth at tight end, but now with getting Donnie back, you would have that as an option if need be. So it hasn't really come up a bunch, but if we need that type of situation, now you have somebody that you trust that has earned the trust from guys around him by the way he's played in those first couple games.
Deep left, Tim Hall, 97.1 The Fan.
Ryan, did you see C.J. Stroud's sideline pass when he was getting ripped down this weekend, and what did you say to yourself when you saw it?
No, I actually didn't see it. I did watch a few of the plays, and somebody had said to me, he just made a sick throw, but I never caught it with my eyes. But I did text him after the game, and just proud of the way he's handled himself, the way he's endeared himself into that organization, the way he's built hope into that organization, and the way guys are rallying around him, the way he's playing. Just couldn't be prouder of the way he's going about his business on a day-to-day basis, and he's got a lot of people here pulling for him.
Austin Ward, podcast.
Right. I don't know if Donovan's situation is comparable at all to what Jackson went through 2 years ago. Maybe it's not, but either way, did that process that JSN went through change anything with the way you want to manage injuries when they're close, like Donovan maybe was a week and a half ago? Late to the season, maybe playing into that as well. Like, do you think there's anything that's changed about managing the health of those situations when they're close right now?
I mean, I rely on sports medicine when it comes to making these decisions, but you do use everything that you've learned in your experience to try to help be a part of the process, and you use all types of information to figure that out. And for Donovan came back for a reason. He wants some hardware, man. He wants to play. He didn't come back to just watch the game on the sidelines, but it took everything we had to kind of hold him back from that game. And he was available in an emergency role. I mean, he could have played, but all the information that we had got from our doctors in sports medicine led us to believe that unless he was really needed, it didn't make sense to put him on a pitch count, quote unquote, in that game, but to hold him if possible. And so we made that decision, which was not easy for him to hear or do, but we did. And I think we're all glad that we did at this point. So to answer your question, ultimately, I deferred to the doctors on this, but there is constant conversation. I am a part of all those conversations. And you always look back on different situations and try to learn from it so that you make the best decision for what you have at that moment.
I know it's 5 days away, so certainly the situation could change, but when you're reintegrating Donovan on Saturday, would the preference be to ease it back in because he's missed 2 weeks of game reps? take as many as possible because you're going into a Big Ten game? Like, what's the decision-making process there?
Yeah, we felt like if he had a full week going into, or on the improvement week, a full Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and have a full week of practice this week, that he's full go and he's ready to go.
Andy Backstrom, Letterman Row.
Yeah, Ryan, the tight ends talk a lot about any offseason being the toughest, on the team. Was any part of that knowing that the Red would want to deploy those 13, 14 personnel looks this season?
I think everybody is competing against each other, but there's also that competition sometimes between personnel groupings. You want to get on the field, and whether it's 10 or 11 or 13 or even 14, I mean, guys are fighting for opportunities to get in the game and play. Whether it's two backs in the game, I mean, there's pride in each unit to be able to do that. So, yeah, I think that, and it's a lot easier to do when you have more guys in a room, so that if you take an injury, you still can be in that grouping, where it's a little bit harder when you put a lot of work in, you invest in a grouping, and then one injury or something can happen, and then you're completely out of that grouping. And now you've spent a lot of time during the week on that, and that's a bad investment. So I think the depth of that room has allowed us to put a little more effort and emphasis in that group.
Andy Anders, Lebanon Warriors.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted, on the defensive tackle rotation, it seems pretty clear that Caden McDonald has emerged as that next nose guard. Who's kind of in the mix there at 3-tech? And some guys have kind of split some snaps there. It just hasn't been a clear number 2 that seems to emerge.
Yeah, I would say, like you said, inside, Heroes right there. K-Mac is right there as well. And then, we're really looking for the next couple guys to step up into that role. And I think Larry would tell you the same thing. There's a bunch of, candidates, but, that's something that I think that whole room is really pushing towards, and getting those guys to step up. You got Will, you got Taiwan, you got Jason Moore. I mean, there's some names in there of guys that we believe can do it. And so, that's a challenge, we've got to continue. This is all positions, but, we're looking for guys to step up in that room.
Spencer Holbrook, Letterman Row.
Probably a good thing that you haven't had to deal with a lot of different defensive situations yet, because you guys shut down the first 2 months. Like, how important was it this first hour to get some of those different situations for your defense? I know you guys have a case of red zone, right?
Yeah, we work hard at red zone. Almost every day we're working in the red area. It's important. It's a different game down there. We also mixed in 2-minute. We had some 7-on-7 2-minute. We had some team 2-minute, because all those things are coming. And then at the end of the game 2-minute, and then second half or first half 2-minute. We haven't hit on that yet. We want to do a better job on that on offense, but also on defense. And then coming up and watching some of these games, even like the game that happened last night, there was a 2-minute there at the end, and just even the conversation that we had about, if we're in that situation, what do you do? And constantly talking about those types of things, and then trying to design them in practice so that we're ready when they happen, because as we all know, they're coming.
Jeremy Birmingham, the podcast.
Ryan, the last few years, no matter how hard you guys have tried, it seems like the quarterback recruiting has shifted towards the end of the cycle for a number of reasons. 25 maybe feels different, but how has the last 5-6 years of quarterback recruiting shifted your philosophy moving forward? And how much does the NIL conversation, especially the quarterback, almost require you to wait a little bit further in the process?
Yeah, I think that, I can't mention anybody right now. So, yeah, I mean, I think that when you know, but we've also been in a situation where recruiting's taken a twist or a turn, and when that does, and you've been invested in somebody, and then it, for whatever reason, it goes another way, you can find yourself in a different spot. So, we feel like, we really want to make sure that we evaluate, as much as we possibly can. When you think about like how late it was in CJ Stroud's, we felt great about taking CJ because we saw him play. We felt strong about, Lincoln and Devin, those guys played late in their season, or, into the recruiting process. So, we, feel good about, the guys that we have committed. We feel good about the room that we have, but we always want to make sure that it's the right fit. And what we can't do is be unsure, because it's such a huge decision. So sometimes there's more boxes that need to be checked, and we always want to be thorough in that spot.
Go back to Saturday night. When you're watching other games, do you see coaching decisions that make you scratch your head and say, man, if I get in that situation and we can't handle things that way, I'm thinking of one specific game, I'm not gonna call out a coach who decided to punt when the game was on the line. But if I was gonna do that, I would ask, like, do you have to put yourself in their shoes and say, what would you do?
1,000%, yeah. Every time it's the end of the half, every time it's a decision you made, every time it's the end of the game, you're putting yourself in that situation. And I'm actually saying it out loud sometimes, you know, my RJ and my wife, you know, they'll be like, you know, kind of talking to me about it because, you know, I just constantly say it, you know, and I'm just talking, okay, if this thing goes down to this, down in distance, you know, would we go for it right here? Or, you know, it's a timeout situation, what exactly is going on here? You get the 2-minute warning situation this year, which is very different. So you try to take as many lessons as you can and try to use it as an opportunity to play that in your head because, you know, when you're watching a game live, you know, there's different variables that come into play. You know, we have, you know, hired a consultant as an analytics group to give us information, and so they'll, you know, give us some of the situations on a week-to-week basis on what happened the week before, and they give us feedback on the decisions that we made. So that's been helpful. But yeah, you know, really, when you have an opportunity to watch a game, you're looking at it from that point of view.
6th row left, Jayla Van Horn, the lantern.
Coach, a big day for Marvin Harrison Jr. What did you like from him? And obviously, the first game he kind of struggled, but he came back and obviously played really good against the Rams. So what did you like from him?
Yeah, Marvin Harrison is a wonderful player, and he's going to have a great career in the NFL. So, you know, after a week, or if it was 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you know Marvin's going to be a great player in the NFL. He's just such a pro. He's going to translate very well in that league. So this is just the beginning of what he's able to do. You know, and look to me like some of those were like broken plays. I thought the first one was a really great throw and a great catch in the back of the end zone. I don't know how he hung on to that one, but a really nice throw. And then a couple of them look a little bit, you know, ad-libbed, but he's a great route runner. So, you know, he's going to have these type of days, and you know, we're proud of what he's doing, and also, you know, Paris being there as well. You know, those two guys, you know, really, I know are going to have a strong impact on that organization.
We are at the 2-minute warning here. Tom Orr, Buckeye Huddle.
Matt Rule said yesterday that there's a Big Ten coaches group text or group chat. What do you guys talk about in there? And who is the funniest coach in the Big Ten?
Oh geez, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of us now. It's a crowded room, but it's just things that come up that everyone needs to get on the same page on. You know, it's usually in the off season where there's some sort of legislation coming through or something that we need, you know, consensus on to support, to move forward, to get to our ADs, or sometimes it's information. Hey, you know, you may want to give your AD, you know, a heads up on something like this, and so that we just get alignment across the board. So typically that group text just allows everybody to be on the same page.
Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
At right guard, I don't know if anything's officially been announced, but Tegra's obviously been the starter. Is he the starter, and what have you seen from him so far?
Yeah, he is the starter, and he's played good football. And we'll kind of see how the week plays out. And you know, we're going to try to find ways to get Austin in the game because we feel like he's earned that opportunity. How it shakes out this week, we'll see. But right now, Tegra's the starting right guard.
And what will it add to have Donovan back? We obviously know he's a good player, but what does it give you both tangibly and intangibly?
I just think this solidifies everything up front. Seth has done a very, very good job of communicating across the board. He brings a certain level of experience and stability in there with the communication. Now you add Donovan into it. I mean, there's two guys with a lot of experience. They're good communicators. They're very sharp. I think just overall, you know, everyone's going to be on the same page even more and allow guys to communicate well, because that's important. I mean, everything up front is about communication. So the more these guys can communicate and get everybody on the same page, the better we can execute.
Tim May, Letterman Row.
Yeah, just two quickies. Ryan, number one, speaking about the offensive line, did he make that leap you wanted from first game to second game? And I know everything's always relative based on who you're blocking, you know, so to speak. But do you like the progress there? Did you see a more cohesive unit? Just what did you see?
Yeah, I think we all saw a bunch of guys who played hard. I like the plays where we're finishing, you know, on the touchdown to Jeremiah. You see Josh Simmons like driving a guy out of bounds. You watching Fryer run down on the one that got called back to Quinshawn, but he's 60 yards down the field chasing guys down. I think guys were playing hard in the game. You know, you see Tegra finish guys like 6 and 7 yards down the field and pancake them. Like, that's to me what we're looking for. And also the communication. You know, making sure that we're on the same page, we're all going to the right guys, and trust your technique. I say that all the time. You're going against Tyleek and Ty every day in practice. Like, trust what you're doing every day in practice. And, you know, so the communication was better, it was cleaner, and I thought the effort was very, very good. And so we can build on that. Like you said, it's just the beginning, but I think there's also a certain level of confidence that, you know, we should be continuing to grow on.
And the other thing, you watched a lot of football on Saturday, so Wisconsin loses its starting quarterback to a season-ending injury. You saw what that did to their attack. Texas loses Quinn Ewers to a abdominal strain or whatever it was. He looks like he's gonna, but the point is, do alarm bells go off in your head when you're watching that? Or do you go to Chip and go, you know, we gotta get these other guys more time, more quality time? Because that could happen any moment. I mean, just what's your thinking in that regard?
It's the same thing as it was, you know, before watching that on TV. It's, you know, we've got to build depth at every position, and obviously that's one. You know, we got 4 guys in the game last Saturday. That was good. You don't know what this week's going to bring. Like, we got to go play Marshall. We got to beat Marshall, and then we'll figure out the rest of it later. If your focus goes anywhere else, I think that's dangerous. But we're going to get these guys reps in practice, and you know, the more game reps we can get them, the better, because we do know that's going to be important. I mean, I totally agree with you. But you know, there's not much we can do about that right now. Let's go have a great Tuesday. Let's get these guys as many reps as we can, and then we'll kind of, you know, we have an opportunity to get guys in the game. We're doing.
Thanks, man.
Yeah,
Coach, thank you very much.
Thanks, Ryan.